Now at 9, how the city of Pittsburgh is using a grant to address homelessness. Plus, the city of Pittsburgh discusses a funding agreement for a new Pitt State College of Business. And the Southeast Kansas Nature Center celebrates 20 years in operation.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. The city of Pittsburgh agrees to terms with Pitt State for millions in funding for a new College of Business. The Gorilla Rising project aims to develop the new college as well as on-site parking at 3rd and Broadway. It would also see the redevelopment of the Best Hotel on 4th Street. The city today approved the funding agreement for $10,050,000. They say it will provide a much-needed update.
It's an opportunity to, one, get a new facility for the College of Business that's sorely needed for our business students, but also by moving it downtown, we can create a tighter linkage with the business community in Pittsburgh and the surrounding region and with the city. It's a great experience for our students and a great opportunity to enhance the business community in Pittsburgh.
The city tonight also approved $32,000 in funding for the Kels College of Business Economic Research proposal. Well, the city of Pittsburgh is requesting more than $300,000 in federal funding to help address homelessness. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
Every year for more than a decade, the city of Pittsburgh has applied for the Emergency Solutions Grant through the Kansas Housing Resources Cooperation. The city requests a certain amount of funding. This year, they're applying for more than $300,000 to aid the city's homeless community.
We also helped with homeless prevention funds, which helps individuals stay housed with either back rent or utilities assistance, and there was some funding for day shelter operations.
Last year, they applied for $450,000, but were granted just under $100,000. If they do not receive the amount they're requesting, city officials are prepared to be strategic.
We have to be more mindful of how much we are helping individuals. We just need to make sure that we are truly helping the individuals that need the assistance.
One Pittsburgh resident is skeptical about how the city will spend the funds. He voices his thoughts on his 5,000-member Facebook group called Citizens for Pittsburgh.
If this is the way to solve the problem, more money, more people working, why is the problem continually getting worse?
Lomshek and others believe the funds should be spent on people from Crawford County. The city of Pittsburgh assists anyone who meets their homelessness criteria.
The other concern that we've had from the beginning is that a large number of these people are not from Crawford County or Pittsburgh. They are coming here because they have heard there are free services.
Well, they have to go through some homeless certifications, but as long as they are in our community, they are considered a resident and will be assisted.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
If approved, city officials say they should receive the funds by August. Well, meteorologist Lindsay Gaffney joins us now with a first look at weather.
Well, it's looking pretty good. We've got a nice sunset out there. Temperatures dropping down to the low 70s. And we've got a nice easterly breeze, light breeze. Across the region, still a little bit warmer in the southwest. We've got 79 in Nowata and Independence, 78 in Sedan and Veneta, and out in Joplin, 75, 74 in Pittsburgh. A little bit cooler in the northern counties, Nevada, 73. So not too bad of a night. We are cooling down to mid to lower 60s tonight, a little bit warmer than last night. We still have some remnants of flooding from the storms from this past weekend. Luckily, we are out of severe weather season officially now, but keep an eye on that with those low-level roads or any near rivers or lakes in the area. Outside of that, we're going to stay pretty dry, but temperatures do continue to climb into the 90s. I'll have those details in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Lindsay. The Southeast Kansas Nature Center is celebrating 20 years. The center is located in Schimmerhorn Park, south of Galena. You can find snakes, salamanders, frogs, turtles, and more there. The goal of the center is to introduce wildlife and educate the community about native Kansas wildlife.
They're going to see several native species to this region and lots of drawers and exploration stuff to get into. So, and you know, lots of hands-on things. We try and make it as friendly as we can to all groups so that they can get into stuff and learn a little bit more about what we've got down here in the Kansas Ozarks.
Well, the Nature Center is open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Sunday from 1 to 4. Some Carthage grade schoolers are diving into the world of sea turtles. In advance of World Sea Turtle Day, third graders at Steadley Elementary today wrote about turtles and did turtle-related crafts. It's part of their 20 Days Around the World summer school journey designed to expand the students' horizons. It also provides some fun facts.
Lay over 115 eggs a day for 10 days. They lay it on the beach in sand in a hole, and then they cover it up with sand.
Another fun sea turtle fact, unlike other turtles, sea turtles cannot retract their flippers and head into their shells. I did not know that. Mercy Joplin's chapter of Women with a Mission hosted a donation ceremony today. The chapters raised more than $100,000 for such projects as ultrasounds, surgical equipment, and cardiac services equipment for various departments. Women with a Mission Giving Society combines resources, vision, and passion for helping others to support and improve healthcare in its communities. And the Bulldogs are throwing a block party tonight. Carl Junction kicks off summer fun with Second Tuesday on Main Street. The event, which is open for about 30 more minutes tonight, features food trucks, games, bounce houses, booths, and so much more.
We're kicking off the summer with it. It's an event where we can come together as a community. We have something for everybody from bounce houses, foods, vendors. It's all about the community feel to kick off the summer for.
And just in case you missed this one, Carl Junction will host its next Second Tuesday. You guessed it, Second Tuesday in July 9th. Well, coming up with the rising temperatures, we'll have some creative tips to keep kids hydrated. Gen X is getting some cancer at higher rates than baby boomers and the silent generation. A study published in JAMA Network Open shows people born between 1965 and 1980 have experienced decreases in certain cancers, including lung and cervical, but several others are increasing, including thyroid, kidney, prostate, and ovarian. Study authors suggest this could keep the overall cancer rate high for decades in the U.S. Higher doses of anesthesia are no more toxic to the brain than lower doses. Researchers with Washington University School of Medicine looked at more than 1,000 older patients who underwent cardiac surgery. They found the amount of anesthesia used did not change the risk of long-term cognitive decline. Well, as temperatures rise, drinking enough fluids is one of the most important things you can do to prevent heat-related illness. But it can be hard to get your child to drink enough water. Mandy Gaither has some creative ways to help keep your kids hydrated this summer.
Much of our body is made up of water. When it's hot outside, we have to refill it, and children can be especially vulnerable to dehydration.
I always get asked how much water should my child have, but dependent on their activity level, their age, it's going to be different.
Signs of dehydration in children include dizziness, drowsiness, dry mouth, sunken eyes, crying with little or no tears, urinating less often, or having fewer wet diapers. To support a child's hydration, take water everywhere you go, says Strong for Life licensed and registered dietitian Catherine Sherry.
Let them pick out their own water bottle. Let them decorate it with stickers so they take ownership of it.
Sherry says to add fruits, veggies, and herbs to the water to make it full of flavor without adding excessive amounts of sugar.
But one thing I love to do is when my berries have seen better days in the fridge, I'll mash them up and put them in ice cube trays. And so I'll use that as ice. And as that ice starts to melt, it makes that water more sweet.
Sherry says to avoid sports drinks unless the child is vigorously active in the heat. She says food and water can replenish electrolytes without extra sugar and limit use of juice and other high sugar beverages.
There was a meta-analysis published that juice does contribute towards obesity in children. So when thinking about offering it, we want to keep it minimal.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Well, Sherry says it's not necessary to give water to children 6 months and younger. She says breast milk or formula will meet a baby's hydration needs. Lindsay is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later how a Missouri Southern golfer helped lead the team to uncharted territory for the program.
Well, I know everyone's thankful severe weather season is over. However, that just means that we're dealing with incredibly hot temperatures. Luckily not tonight. Taking a look outside downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. It's a really nice night. We're getting down to the mid to lower 60s, so we're not quite at those really high temperatures just yet. And it was a really nice sunset as well. I hope everyone got to see it. We're right on track for an average time this year. 85, 86 for our high today, which is right on average, 85 for an average high. 59 for our low, so it was a little bit cooler this morning, but I said that yesterday was going to be our last cooler night before we really start to warm up. We're not near any records though. Back in 1963 of 103. I'm glad we're not there yet. We still have some residual flooding from all the rain that we got this past weekend, and it was a lot, and it was a nice way to end severe weather season. Nothing too crazy, just a lot of rainfall. And so if you're near any lakes, rivers, you might deal with some of those higher river levels. But we're going to stay dry for the next several days. We've got a nice ridge forming over our area. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But we are starting to warm up. We're going on a warming trend this week. So we started off yesterday 82, 83, a low down to 59, 60, and then back up to nearly 85, 86. So mid 80s, mid to upper 80s. Tomorrow, even warmer than that, getting up to 89, 90 in some counties as well. It's going to be really sunny, and temps are really starting to ramp up as we see this ridge settle over the area. And it is a very long, wide ridge settling over most western U.S. We're now in the summer season, so we're getting that sinking air, and it's going to be very calm for a while. We might see some showers pushing through due to a shortwave trough. You can kind of see it forming right out there near Albuquerque, and that's going to give us some rain showers on Friday. No severe threat, no storms, but just some scattered rain showers in the morning and then again in the evening time. Now, outside of that, we're going to stay pretty dry, and not to mention temperatures are also going to start heating up. So by the middle of this weekend, getting up to mid 90s across the region, it's going to cause some concerns for health-related illnesses. And I know everyone's scared of tornadoes, especially in this area, but heat is actually the silent killer, #1 killer in the U.S. for any weather-related phenomena. So it's really important to take care of yourself out there, especially when we start getting into the triple digits, which may happen a little bit sooner rather than later. As up northern Kansas City, they're getting into the triple digits, or they're forecasted to this weekend. Now, we're staying in the mid 90s, which is good for right now, but low temperatures dropping down to the mid to lower 70s. So we're really not even cooling down that much during the evening times. And we don't have a lot of rain on the forecast. A few scattered showers on Friday, and again Tuesday evening we've got some scattered showers. So outside of that, we're going to be pretty dry and pretty warm. It's always good to stay hydrated, especially with humidity levels really high. It's going to feel even warmer.
Yeah, that's just the temperature it actually is, not what it's going to feel like. That's
with the humidity, oh, it's bad. I mean, I'm from the South, and that humidity was bad, so.
But if you've been in the 4 states for a while, you know we have humidity. It's just part of life out here.
It'll be my first summer season here. I'm excited for it.
Well, you'll enjoy it. All right, thanks, Lindsay. Well, KOAM and Fox 14 are starting a summer food drive as part of our Feed the 4 States campaign. Local food pantries have struggled since COVID, so any size donation makes a world of difference. As part of our summer food drive, we ask that you bring donations to your local food pantry, either in the form of cash or non-perishable food items. You can find a list of food pantries in the area on our website, koamnewsnow.com/feed. Well, many people come and go from the Fort Scott Farmers Market, but there's been one staple for the past 25 years. Ron and Beverly Brown sell fresh produce there and connect with the community through it. Former farmer, Ron says he's just doing what he knows best.
We used to farm quite a little bit and got out of that didn't want to quit, so got into this. And we've been doing it, like I said, over 20 years now, and it's still agriculture.
The Fort Scott Farmers Market is open on Tuesdays from 4 to 6 p.m. and Saturdays from 8 a.m. to noon. Coming up, we'll see how the unemployment rate in Southwest Missouri compares to the rest of the state. Scooping ice cream or mowing lawns, summer jobs are a good way for students to make a little cash and build their skill set. More than 2 million high school and college students are expected to work summer jobs or internships this year. Industries hiring for those right now include leisure and hospitality, retailers, camp counselors, lifeguards, and of course, babysitters. Those last three categories are especially in demand in popular summer communities.
There are some industries that are very difficult to break into, and an internship can be an entry card. But gang, listen, we know how much student debt is a burden, and we know how much kids are really trying to help themselves get a foot forward. So I think paid jobs can really help that.
Summer employment is also a great way for teens and college students to build skills and determine what kind of workplace environment appeals to them. They can also challenge themselves to multitask and navigate those customer service interactions and bosses. Well, summer jobs could turn into full-time opportunities. Chris Bryant looked into the job numbers for the area and explains how the unemployment rate for Springfield is doing better than the rest of Missouri.
Well, Springfield continues to be the fastest growing metro in the state of Missouri.
According to the most recent numbers, Missouri has an unemployment rate of 3.4%. In Springfield, that number drops to 2.9% and is down from March's 3.3%.
Especially in growing areas like the Springfield metro, where you see a lot of job creation taking place, and even in an area like this where our population is growing faster than most places, it's really hard to keep up with the demand for new jobs. And
the Missouri Economic Research and Information Center's 10-year outlook for jobs in the state shows that the top openings now for those with a high school education or less are fast food and counter workers and retail sales. The top jobs in the area that require a high school education are heavy and tractor-trailer drivers, cooks in restaurants, and nursing assistants.
And the best thing that someone can do is to really invest in their skills development, make sure that they have the skills necessary to get those good, high-quality, high-paid jobs.
Jobs requiring a 4-year college degree or higher are general and operation managers, registered nurses, and accountants. By the year 2030, the long-term projections show the greatest needs in the Ozark region will be the arts and designs area, food preparation and service, and personal care occupations.
But a lot of employers are now getting very aggressive in terms of how they work with employees to try to help support them, maybe help even pay for some of that additional education that's necessary that increases your earning potential.
The labor force in Missouri is a little more than 3 million, with more than 105,000 unemployed. Missouri's 3.4% unemployment rate is lower than the national rate at 3.9%.
Well, leading into the summer months, the unemployment rates varied a bit in our southwest Missouri counties. Barton sits at 3.1%, Jasper's at 3.3%, Newton is 3.4%, Vernon's rate is 3.6%, and McDonald County is the highest, sitting at 3.8%. What's in a name? Possibly a lot for wild African elephants. Up next, the results of a new study looking at how they address each other. A new study suggests wild African elephants may use calls similar to the personal names humans use to address each other. Researchers used a machine learning model to analyze recordings of hundreds of elephant calls. They found the sound of the calls varied depending on which elephant the call was targeting. Recordings of those calls were played back to some of the elephants. The animals responded more strongly to calls that were directed at them over those that were originally directed at another elephant. The study's authors said this research shows more about elephants' cognitive abilities. Interesting. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports is coming your way. President Biden's son Hunter learns his fate in a federal gun trial. Plus, Secretary of State Antony Blinken announces humanitarian aid for Palestinians while calling for a ceasefire between Israel and Hamas.
You're watching the 4 States Most Watched News.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. The guilty verdict for Hunter Biden came down quick, with the jury deliberating for about 3 hours before convicting him on all 3 felony federal charges of owning a gun while using drugs. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has reaction from Wilmington, Delaware.
Hunter Biden showed very little emotion inside the courtroom when the verdict was read, but after said that the support from his family and friends throughout this trial outweighs any disappointment over the jury's decision. Hunter Biden leaving court hand in hand with his wife and First Lady Jill Biden shortly after being convicted on 3 felony gun charges.
Nobody's above the law, no matter who you are.
Hunter Biden's defense team was hoping for a sympathetic jury, but they didn't find that in the 12-member panel. Juror number 10 telling Fox, despite having family members who own guns and struggled with drug addiction, the, quote, heart-wrenching decision came down to the facts.
Was not politically motivated. Politics played no part in this whatsoever.
Special counsel David Wise, who brought the case, says it wasn't about addiction, but the decisions made when the president's son filled out the gun form in October 2018.
This case was about the illegal choices defendant made while in the throes of addiction, his choice to lie on a government form when he bought a gun, and the choice to then possess that gun.
The verdict came after about 2 hours after the jury began deliberating Tuesday. Shortly after, President Biden made a last-minute schedule change, deciding to head to Wilmington to be with his son, but not before he made remarks about toughening gun laws.
No single action can solve the entirety of the gun violence epidemic, but together, our efforts, your efforts, are saving lives.
He made sure that he didn't mention his son or reference his son.
And the legal troubles for Hunter Biden are not over. His federal tax evasion trial is slated for September. In Wilmington, Delaware, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
President Biden is touting his administration's actions to curb gun violence in America. Speaking at Everytown's Gun Sense University, President Biden says murder is down this year. Violent crime decreased overall by 15% following major reductions in 2023. He also says there's more to be done, again calling for a ban on assault weapons.
Think about it. They're weapons of war. And by the way, it's time we establish universal background checks. And by the way, and require the safe storage of firearms.
The president thanked the crowd for prioritizing gun safety, saying many Americans want to see common sense reforms. Before announcing $400 million in further humanitarian aid for Palestinians, Secretary of State Antony Blinken called out Hamas and says it is time to accept a ceasefire deal to save Palestinian lives. Fox's Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
Families of the remaining Israeli hostages demanding action on Tuesday after 4 of those kidnapped were freed in this daring rescue in Gaza Saturday. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is now in the Middle East, pressuring Hamas leaders in hiding to accept a ceasefire deal that would release the last of the hostages.
Today, as we gather, one and only one thing stands in the way of this deal happening, and that's Hamas.
On Monday, the United Nations Security Council approved a resolution endorsing the ceasefire plan. A senior Hamas leader released a statement saying the resolution contains points we do not accept, but its main aspects are positive. There are also reports that the U.S. is considering bypassing Israel and negotiating directly with Hamas for the release of American hostages.
We have to be very concerned, though, that if the United States is going to negotiate separately with Hamas, whether it's going to increase the price of the release of the rest of the hostages. It's creating a different category of hostages, those who have American passports, those who don't have American passports.
U.S. officials would not comment on whether there are separate negotiations, but parents of those Americans say they welcome any talks that bring their loved ones home. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
A bit later, a rare opportunity for history buffs.
The Library of Congress is opening its doors to the public for its first ever permanent display of American treasures. I'm Mike Emanuel in Washington. I've got the details coming up.
Well, we're officially in summer season, but we do still have a cooler night ahead of us. Take a look outside at downtown Joplin from the Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex. Looking pretty good. We've got a very light breeze and a few clouds, but it's going to clear overnight. We're dropping down to the mid to lower 60s tonight. Not too bad. We've been about average the last couple of days. We had a little bit of a cooler Sunday, cooler Monday, but we're right on average today. 86 for our high, right on average with 85, but not even near any records. Back in 1953, 103 degrees. I'm glad we're not there yet. And we still have some residual flooding in some of our lakes and rivers in the area, and those are going to be like that until Wednesday afternoon. But other than that, we stay pretty dry. We've got a nice ridge forming over our area, and that's going to bring us all the way into the weekend, staying dry and temperatures really starting to warm up. So yesterday we got up to low 80s, 82, 83, and then today we got up to 85, 86, and even in some counties 88, 89. Pretty warm. Now tomorrow, this is for the Joplin Metro, up to about 89, but especially in the southwestern counties, they're going to break 90, and then in the northeastern counties, maybe a little bit less, maybe 85, 86. So we are getting pretty up there, sunny skies all day long, and it's going to be a pretty good day overall. But we've got this ridge forming, so for the next couple of days, we do go on that warming trend. By the weekend, we're getting up to the mid-90s in the metro and even higher in the southern counties, so keep an eye on that. And then we've got also Friday, a shortwave trough, meaning it's just a little bit of a trough embedded in an upper level flow. So you've got this ridge and then a little bit of a trough forms, and that brings in some rain, some storms, but we're only getting a few brief showers on Friday as it passes through our area. Outside of that, we're staying pretty dry. Not to mention, or not just because we're staying dry, we still have some high humidity values as these temperatures do start to warm up. So we're going to be in the mid-90s by this weekend, which does cause some issues. Heat-related illnesses are possible, but add that to the humidity values that we're going to see. It's just going to feel really hot, really muggy. It is going to be nice, sunny, but don't forget to stay hydrated, especially when we start getting into the triple digits. I know this weekend, especially out in Wichita, Kansas City, they're expecting temperatures to reach triple digits. So we're not quite there yet. We're only forecasted at mid-90s. But still, we are getting into the summertime. Heat exhaustion, heat stroke, very possible when we get into those really high temperatures. And not to mention, it is the silent killer. I know everyone probably will think tornadoes, severe weather, but #1 cause for weather-related deaths are actually the heat. So stay hydrated. Don't spend too long outdoors. Take some breaks being indoors because we do have a lot of sunny days ahead of us. And temperatures only in the 90s right now, but will start to warm up as we continue into the summer season. But we do have a couple rainy days. Friday, some brief showers in the morning and evening, and then again Tuesday afternoon into the evening time as well. So it'll cool us off, the nice little rain, and temperatures are dropping down to the low 70s, but not a lot of cooler days ahead.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's just, okay, we got tomorrow and then it's 90s, 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 90s.
Yes.
I don't like that.
But it cools down again next week. You know, after some evening showers, we'll get back to just 90, not 90s, right? A little bit better.
That'll be nicer.
But I do have to get up first thing in the morning before the sun, gets up so I can walk the dogs. Without that, like Willow turned around mid-walk and she was like, I want to go home.
I don't know. Like when I try to walk Benny, I end up getting more of a workout than I intended.
Yeah. That's
He's a workout himself.
That's how it's
I need to have like 50-degree weather so I don't sweat so much.
Me too.
All right. Thanks, Lindsay. Well, the Missouri Department of Conservation wants to remind the public frog season begins this month, beginning June 30th at sunset through October 31st. Those with a fishing permit or a small game hunting permit may go frogging for bullfrogs and green frogs. The daily limit is 8 frogs of both species combined, and the possession limit is 16 frogs of both species combined. Even if you're not into frogging, the Department of Conservation encourages everyone to get out and enjoy nature this time of year. For more information on frogging, you can go over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Still ahead, we'll meet a Missouri Southern golfer who just wrapped up a historic season for the Lions. Missouri Southern men's golf reached new heights this season. One player in particular helped lead MSSU to uncharted territory at the end of the spring. KOAM Sports Director John Dales has the story on the Lion who led the pack.
I just gained confidence over the last month, playing with my teammates competitive in practice, because I feel like it's all about competition and being able to perform when it matters.
Performing when it matters has become commonplace for Missouri Southern golfer Luis Limon. The Lion sophomore won the 2024 MIAA Individual Championship, was named MIAA Golfer of the Year, as well as an all-region athlete from the Golf Coaches Association, and a lot more. But all of these accolades were nearly prevented from happening about a decade ago.
My dad got me into golf when I was very young. But then, funny story, I didn't like golf from when I was 9 to 13. I was a big soccer player. But then when I turned 14, I started loving the golf again. And since then, I've been on the grind.
The grind has taken him from Guadalajara, Mexico to Joplin, Missouri. And the change in setting meant Limon also needed to change his game.
He had to adjust to some of the different circumstances here, the wind being one, and then also the grasses here are considerably different. But he's also worked very diligently. But I think what he said about his confidence level is strong. He's got a very proper attitude for golf.
In less than 2 years, Limon became the top golfer on the top men's golf team in the MIAA.
At the MIAA Conference Championship, the entire team played extremely well the last day, and particularly the last 9 holes, and he was the anchor to that. And had a 2-shot lead playing the 18th hole, and I was standing behind him as he was preparing to drive, and I was thinking, there's no one else I would rather have hitting his shot. He's that good when he's dialed in.
Limon's season was far from finished when he won the MIAA championship. At the end of a 3-day super regional tournament, he won a 1-hole playoff, which made Limon the first Missouri Southern Lion ever to earn a spot in the Division II National Championship.
I mean, it's pretty cool being the first Missouri Southern golfer to be there. I feel like it's going to be a good experience for me and my coach.
It's kind of an exclamation point on my career because I've not been to nationals, so I get to go as well. I get to tag along.
Well, Limon finished tied for 70th place at the National Championship in Winter Garden, Florida. It was the first time his parents were able to see him play in person since he moved to the United States. And we'll have more details on the story on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com/sports. We'll be right back. For the first time, the Library of Congress is opening its doors to showcase its treasures of American history. Fox News Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel has more from our nation's capital.
The world's largest library will have a permanent treasures gallery.
Most people don't know it, but the Library of Congress houses more than just books. There are 178 million items there, and for the first time, they're being put on display in a permanent exhibit called Collecting Memories. It's a treasure trove of American history and culture, featuring items like James Madison's crystal flute and the contents of President Lincoln's pockets when he was assassinated.
What this gallery will allow people to get a sense of the breadth and the depth of the collections, and also hopefully see themselves.
And if history is not your thing, there are also items celebrating American arts and culture, like the first sketches of Spider-Man and handwritten lyrics to The Sound of Music, putting the focus on the way American popular culture is preserved through memory.
As a child, I was able to see the movie Sound of Music, and I love seeing the actual lyrics to Do Re Mi in the lyricist's hand.
Curators say the exhibit's a way of dusting off the library's image, making it more popular for both tourists and academics. But they're also hoping it will help bring Americans together by spotlighting our shared heritage in a fun and accessible way.
This is the nation's library, this is their library, and this is all of these treasures are the gift to the nation.
The Collecting Memories exhibit opens to the public on Thursday, and admission is free. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Well, coming up, rock icons Styx and Foreigner are going on tour together. We'll hear from the bands about teaming up. Legendary rockers Styx and Foreigner are touring together again for the first time since 2004. The multi-platinum selling bands kick off their co-headlining tour tonight in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and will perform a total of 36 dates this summer. Now, we caught up with Tommy Shaw of Styx and Kelly Hansen of Foreigner to talk about sharing the stage, performing their hits, and new music. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Classic rock icons Styx and Foreigner are back on the road together for their co-headlining tour, Renegades and Jukebox Heroes.
You better eat your Wheaties if you're going to play with Foreigner. because these guys are so. First of all, you got this incredible music, decades of some of the best written rock music that there ever was.
You're as cold as ice.
Kelly Hansen singing the hell out of it, and it's something to behold.
It's a definite mutual love fest because, you know, you guys, Styx, are amazingly on all the time, every night.
Light it up, let's get this show on the road.
They look forward to reconnecting with fans by performing their hits, but say some songs have become challenging to sing over the years.
As we age, you know, your voice is constantly changing. And as your schedule changes, it affects how you can actually perform every night.
While the co-headlining tour coincides with Foreigner's farewell tour, lead singer Kelly Hansen says the band plans to release new music.
There's a lot of Foreigner material that's in different states of completion. All, you know, stuff that we've written or we've started or that we've worked on the road or at home or in the studio together. And I'm hoping that when we get to the end of this farewell tour, it'll give us a little bit more time to kind of maybe complete some of those things and release those things.
Singer and guitarist Tommy Shaw doesn't expect Styx to stop performing live anytime soon.
It's my life's work, and I love it, and it gives me a reason to take care of myself.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Well, their tour dates in the 4 states include June 18th in St. Louis, June 19th in Rogers, Arkansas, and September 21st in Independence, Missouri. So mark your calendars. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of a drone show in Hong Kong celebrating the Dragon Boat Festival. Have a great night and an even better tomorrow.